Hi sewists and aspiring sewists, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Doyen, and in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to make this design cargo pant. So if this looks like what you're interested in, then you want to keep watching this video to the end. So these are the basic materials I'm going to be working with. I'm working with pure cotton, but I'm working with a more thicker texture. So I have a little portion of this off-white fabric here, which is about half yards. Then I have this taping band here, which is also about 6 yards. Then I also have this cotton fabric with a towel bag, which is going to be used for the major body. So I'm going to be working with about 1.5 yards of this. I'm going to recommend 2 yards for this because we're going to be adding a side pocket to it and all of that. So with no further delay, let's just get right into it. So the first thing I did here was to lay my fabric on a fold. So I'm just going to rule a line across just to create a margin for my trouser length. So this is going to serve as a margin for my trouser length. So on my measurement book, my full length is 42 inches. So I'm going to subtract 2 inches from 42 inches because we're going to be attaching a band to the waistband. So I'm going to take out 2 inches, which is going to be my waistband allowance. Then I'm going to go ahead to measure 42 inches. So remember that we took out 2 inches already. So by the time I'm going to be measuring and all of that, we'll be left with 40 inches aside the 2 inches. I hope you understand. So I added 1.5 inches allowance. So what I am measuring here is exactly 43.5 inches. Remember, I took out 2 inches at the top side. I hope you understand. So from this top side here, I'm going to measure my crotch. So to determine my crotch, we're going to be working with the hip measurement. My hip measurement is 48 inches. 48 divided by 4 is 12 inches. So because I'm working with a wider thigh, I'm just going to deduct 1 inch from my 12 inches. So I'm going to be working with 11 inches for my crotch. Now because we are going to be adding our waistband to it, so I'm going to take out the 2 inches waistband while I measure my 11 inches. Now on this other side here, I'm going to take my hip measurement, which is 12 inches, after dividing it into 4, which is what you can see me mark here. Next, I'm going to go ahead to measure my thigh. So in my measurement book, my thigh is 32 inches. So for your thigh measurement, you just need to divide it by 2. So I'm going to divide 32 inches into 2. So we have 16 inches. I'm just going to mark that point here. Then from this point here, I'm going to come out by 1 inch. So this 1 inch is going to serve as our crotch curve. So I'm going to use my French curve to mark out this curve line, just as you can see me do on your screen. Next measurement is my ankle measurement, and on my measurement book we have 28 inches here. 28 inches divided by 2 is 14 inches. So I'm going to mark 14 inches on my ankle area. So basically I'm going to connect my ankle towards my thigh, just as you can see in this video. So just in case you don't know what to use for your ankle measurement, just subtract 2 inches from your actual thigh measurement, or just maintain the same thigh measurement for your ankle area, since we're working with a free sweatpants. I hope you understand. So once I'm done marking all of this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut what I have here. So just in case you're wondering how to determine your crotch for a medium size or a small size, all you just need to do is divide your hip measurement into 4. Whatever you get is what you're going to use mark as your crotch measurement. So after cutting, the next thing you want to do is to lay another fabric on a fold like this. Then position the front part of your sweatpants on it, just like I am doing here. So you're just going to adjust it properly just to fit into the length of the fabric, the other fabric that is laid downward. So on this other part here, I'm going to take out an allowance of 2 inches, which is going to serve as the same allowance for both my front bodies and my back bodies. Again, on this top side here, I'm going to also rule a line matching across, just as you can see me do right here. Again, on the crotch area here, I'm going to come out by 1 inch. So the essence of this is to create an ease around the crotch area for the back side of our pants. So this is basically all I need to mark for the back side of my sweatpants. So once I'm done with all of this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut. So for the inseam area of my pants, I'm going to cut it equally, while the other one I'm going to cut according to what I've marked. Next thing here is the side combat pocket. So we're going to follow the rule of streetwear. So the wideness of this cargo pants is going to be the stretchy part, while the length is going to be the non-stretchy part. Mind you, we also followed the rule while cutting the trousers, so you should always follow the rule while cutting out your streetwear designs. Make sure that the length is the non-stretchy part while the wideness is the stretchy part. So for the length of my pocket, I'm going to be working with 10 inches. So all I just need to do is properly align each side of my pocket. So for the length, I'm working with 10 inches, while for the width, I'm going to be working with 8.5 inches. So each of these also includes the same allowance. So once I'm done marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut. The next thing here is the cap of my pocket. So I'm going to measure 5 inches as the length of this one. So we need 2 pieces of this. That is why it is on a fold. I'm going to just measure 5 inches and I'm going to cut out what we have here. The next thing here is to measure the wideness of this pocket cap. So I'm going to measure 9 inches for this and I'm going to just cut out what we have here. So this is exactly how I'm going to position it on the side of my pants. Next thing here is my waistband. To determine my waistband circumference, I have to sew my trousers first. So what I have here as the default measurement is 28 inches, which I believe is going to be enough. Remember that my hips was measured at 48 inches. So by the time I'm going to be done sewing, I should be left with randomly about 50 inches remaining as my hip measurement. So on a fold, I measured my length as 2.5 inches. So by the time I'm done attaching this to my trouser length, I'm going to be left with 2 inches. So after cutting, I'm just going to put this aside. So for the side pocket, I'm going to be working with a different material entirely, but I'm also working with the same cotton fabric but a different texture. So this is going to be for my inner side pocket. So for the width, I measured 6.5, while for the length, I'm going to come down by 13 inches. You can decide to come longer than this, maybe by 14 inches or 15 inches, depending on how tall the person you are sewing for is. So once I'm done with that, I'm just going to cut out what we have here. So this is basically everything that we need to achieve this designed sweatpants. So the first thing I did here was to attach the side pocket to the front part of my pants. So I'm going to just add a link to the description of this video so you can watch how I did that in one of my previous videos. Next thing here is I'm going to be joining the front alongside with the back. So this is the back side, while the one with the pocket is the front side. So I'm just going to join it. I also made a detailed explanation on how I joined it and all of that in the video attached below this video. So I made a mistake around this pocket area. I was supposed to attach my pocket from the top side of my trouser, but I left about 2 inches or 2.5 inches before doing that. And this is supposed to be a method for a pant that is cut together with the band allowance, not without the band allowance. I hope you understand. But nevertheless, I already linked a video to this particular one, and this video explains how to properly fix a pocket for an attached band sweatpants. So you just want to watch the video to understand what I'm trying to explain to you. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well. So after sewing, this is what they both look like. So the next thing I'm going to be doing here is to weave the top side of my combat pocket. So I'm doing this because I'm going to be making a fold on the top part of my pocket with a straight sewing machine. So in a situation where you're using a taping machine, you don't need to do this. So for the cap, I'm just going to fold it on the wrong side like this, and I'm going to make a stitch at the sides and also do the same thing on the other side. So after sewing, I'm just going to turn this over to the right face, just as you can see me do here. Then I'm going to put it aside.
Hello, I'm super excited to announce to you that our online courses are now available. So if you are interested in learning more about streetwear, you want to know how to make t-shirts, joggers, hoodies, varsity jacket, tracksuits, sweatpants, cargo pants, and so many more, these courses are made for you. The courses are displayed on your screen. So if you are interested in registering for any of these courses, then you want to just click on the link underneath this video to register for these courses. And guys, guess what? These courses are well detailed. You're going to be learning how to identify fabrics, how to matchmake fabrics, size charts, measurements, and the like, depending on the course you are actually subscribing for. So you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. So kindly click on the link in my bio. Kindly click on the link in the description to actually register for this class. Bye.
So the next thing I'm going to do here is to add my taping band design. So I'm not going to be adding that immediately after this my side pocket. So mind you, while doing this, make sure that the pocket is actually facing the front side of your pants, not the back side. So make sure that pocket is facing the left side, not the right side. So I'm just going to make a stitch on this side of my taping band downward. So once I'm done with this first part, I'm going to start again from where I stopped, and I'm going to sew on the second side. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. Again, on this top side, I'm going to add the second taping band, of which the distance between the first one and second one is going to be about 1 inch. So once I have that done, I'm just going to start my stitch from this side of my taping band. So I'm going to make sure that while I am sewing, I am measuring the gap in between. I'm making sure that the gap in between is just 1 inch. So after stitching on this side, I'm going to start another stitching on this other side. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. Next is my combat pocket. So I'm going to fold the top part of this my pocket here. I'm going to make a straight stitch on this part. That was why we actually had to weave this top part previously. So if you're working with a taping machine, all you just need to do is make a fold of about 1 inch on this pocket body. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to fold my pocket body like this and mark the center point. So at this point, you can decide to iron it to form a gator at the center, just to centralize it. So on this part of my trouser here, I'm going to measure 16 inches and I'm going to make a point there. So from this top part here, I'm going to measure 16 inches and I'm going to mark that point, just as you can see me do right here. So I'm marking it across. So this is where my combat pocket is going to be positioned. So I'm just going to pick my combat pocket and position it on this part. So the center point is where the first line is. That point is immediately after the side joining. So that is the center point of where the combat pocket is positioned. So I'm just going to pin this down. So if you can properly iron your pockets by folding in your seam allowance, I would encourage you to do that if you are a beginner. So once I'm done pinning down, I'm just going to make a fold at the different corners of my pocket. I'm going to be folding in by about 0.5 inch seam allowance, just as you can see me do on your screen. So I'm just going to do this following the shape of my pocket. So while attaching your pocket, also make sure that you are aligning the pocket area together so that there is no form of folding at any point. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do here is to top stitch the side of my pocket cap, just like I am doing here. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to bring this back to my sewing machine. Then I'm going to position my pocket cap on the top side of my pocket, just as you can see me do on your screen. Then I'm going to make a stitch here. So once I'm done with this first stitch, I'm going to lay it like this, then make a top stitch on this cap. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well. So this is basically the first one and this is the second one. So you can see that we have 2 pieces of this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to position the front part towards each other, just as you can see. The front part is the one that has, it's the side that has the pocket. So I'm positioning it together, just as you can see. So this part is the front part. So I'm just going to sew on the crotch area, just as you can see me do on your screen. So once I'm done with that, then I'm going to also sew on the other crotch area, which is the back side of my sweatpants. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to locate this part of my sweatpants. Then I'm going to connect this together. So I'm going to pin it so that the lines doesn't alternate, the joining doesn't alternate each other. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to align my thigh area towards my ankle area, just as you can see me do right here. Then I'm going to just make a stitch from this towards the other end. So basically I'm sewing from one ankle towards the other ankle area. So while I am doing this, I am also making sure that the joinings are properly aligned. I'm making sure that the inseam is properly balanced. So please kindly take note. So while doing that, make sure that it is properly balanced. So if it is not equal towards the downside, towards the ankle area, do not fret. It's possible because you are working with a stretchy fabric. So after sewing, I'm just going to turn this over to the right face. So the next thing I'm going to do here is to measure what I have on my waist area. So what I have here is going to determine what I'm going to measure on my waistband. So what I have here, the fabric I'm working with is quite stretchy, so I just need to stretch slightly so that I can know what to use. So I'm going to be working with 27 inches because the fabric I'm working with is not as stretchy as the body. So let me be on the safer side. So what we have measured here is 27. So I'm just going to leave a little allowance, which I'm going to be sewing on. This fabric is also stretchy, but not as stretchy as that one, as the main body of the sweatpants. I hope you understand. So this is 27.5. So I'm just going to make a stitch here. So I'm just going to knot this other part here to form the side joining. So after that, I'm also going to connect this together to notch the center point of my waistband. Next thing here is I'm going to fold this on the right face, just as you can see me do right here. So this is how I'm going to position it on the right face. So on this center point here, we're going to create our highlight O. So from the center point, I'm going to mark a center point here. Then from that point, I'm going to come towards the right side by 1 inch, then come towards the left side by 1 inch. So this is where my eyelet is going to be. So I'm going to make sure that the distance from the top side towards that point is about 1 inch before making my point, just as you can see. Then I also do the same thing here. The distance from the top side towards the point is like 1 inch. So I'm just going to mark that point to make it very obvious. So this is where my eyelet is going to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix my highlights. So after attaching my eyelet, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to be attaching my elastic. I'm going to be stretching it around this waistband measurement to be sure of what measurement to use for my elastic band. I'm going to be doing this because we have different types of elastic and each elastic stretches differently. So I'm going to advise you to always stretch your elastic around the circumference of what you're working with so that you can get a firm waistband. So after stretching, I got this actual measurement. So I'm just going to make a double reversal on this to keep my elastic firm. Next thing here is I'm going to position my elastic band into this fabric, just as you can see. So basically I'm going to be sewing on the allowance of about ½ inch that is left behind. So while I am sewing, I'm going to be stretching my elastic band round so that it can grip properly around this waistband. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to properly align my elastic evenly round this waistband. I'm going to spread it evenly so that it properly aligns together. So once I'm done with that, I'm just going to make a double line top stitching of about 0.75 on this waistband. So once I'm done sewing, I'm just going to attach the eyelet area on this part, this front part. I'm going to pin it down. I'm going to make sure that it is centralized, just as you can see me illustrate in this video. So this is the eyelet part. I'm going to position it like this, making sure that the center of the two eyelets is what is facing the center joining. Then I'm just going to be stretching my waistband around this circumference, just as you can see me do right here. So basically I'm just going to stretch this round to fit into what is in the hip waist circumference. Then I'm going to make a straight stitch round on my straight sewing machine. So after making a straight stitch round, I'm not going to go ahead to weave it around again. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to go ahead to attach my waist rope and also tape the downside of my sweatpants. So here's the final look of what we just created. If you're going to be trying this, please let me know in the comment section. And if you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Please kindly subscribe, hit on the notification bell, and also like this particular video, comment, share, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye.